So this is about love. This week is about love, but not interpersonal love or personal love that we think of. You know, our love for our family member, our love for our partner, our love for our child, our love for whatever, our love for a passion that we thing that we like doing. This love that is that being pointed towards is indescribable and unknowable and inescapable and unconditional. It's actually all there is. It's just aliveness. So when I say aliveness and unconditional love, I mean the same. And thisness, you know, isness and isn'tness, and it's simply energy. So this whole gathering together, there'll be discussion for the week. You know, there'll be questions and there'll be answers, and it'll be go back, and it's a conversation. It's just a conversation all week long. It's a conversation, and a conversation. When you think about a conversation is energy, just energetic. That's what it is. That's all it is. It's just energetic, and that's what it is. It's a sharing about another possibility, a possibility that's so ordinary and simple that it's continually overlooked when you feel that you have a life, or there is a sense of separation, or there's a sense of a you. And so you can't go for this week. Really, you can't really go wrong at all in any way. You could sit here apparently and not ask anything all week, and it wouldn't matter. You could have a question every session. You could have a question every few minutes, and it wouldn't matter. It really does not matter. And actually, all there is aliveness, just simply aliveness, energy. There's no you that is alive. And when there's no you that is alive, immediately what's obvious is there's no other that's alive. And that lived causal linear reality of me going from A to B, getting the plane from here to there, that's a 7-hour journey. This is a 7-hour journey. And then arriving, and that sense that time is ticking, that can just fall apart. It can just be seen through. That actually there's no movement, there's no time, only in the appearance of it. All that there ever is simply aliveness. So what's yearned for when you feel that you have a life is inescapable. It's completely, totally inescapable. It's never gone anywhere, but you seem to go somewhere looking for it. And you seem to have this sense of that it's not quite this. There's something to know, or there's somewhere to get to, or there's something to understand, or whatever it is. But all the time, what's yearned for has simply never gone anywhere. It's just what's appearing to happen. So that simplicity can just be obvious, or may not be obvious. We'll see. But there's no goal here for anybody, for it to be obvious to anybody, because actually there's nobody in the room here. There's just aliveness peopling. So whether you have a sense of there being a you in the room or you don't, we'll see. I don't know. But I can't see anyone anyway. There's already just isness, energy, wholeness, whatever word you want to use. So if there is a sensation there that there isn't, that there is a sense of sitting on a chair, there is a sense that there's a person over here that's talking, then that's just there's nothing wrong with that. That's what's appearing to happen. And there may be a question out of that then about any aspect about what we're talking about, any aspect of feeling separate, any aspect of the sense of being an individual, time, space, causality. It does not matter. Does not matter. If there's something that you feel is quite personal and you don't really want to say it in a group setting, I'm here all week, so we can talk one-to-one or whatever. And also, you know, we just have a meeting in the morning, we have a meeting in the evening, but you don't have to do anything. There is nothing expected of you. If you would rather lounge on the beach, then lounge on the beach. If you feel like moving in a meeting, just move. If you feel like going out the door, go out the door. That doesn't matter. It's inescapable what we're speaking about. It's just aliveness. So there's no authority here. There's no, whatever is appearing to happen is appearing to happen. And that's it, really. It's just energetic. When there's a gathering like this, there can be an opening or sensitivity to a kind of boundlessness that is all there is already. And it can be obvious that this isn't a room in Vietnam, although it is and it isn't. This is actually everything rooming, Vietnaming, and that's it. It's all there is wholeness already. It's inescapable. And there's no you in that whole equation. So the sense that may arise of feeling like a you is simply energy. But when it's appearing, it feels real. It's a really felt, contracted sense that I'm thinking, that I'm feeling, that I'm speaking, that I'm seeing you, that I'm sitting on a chair. And if it appears to be there, it appears to be there. So that's what's appearing to happen. So if you have a question about that or want to talk about that, this is how this functions. So just say whatever about that. It doesn't matter. You cannot go wrong. It's impossible.
It always touches me when you start speaking, or not in the beginning, but after some time. So I guess it resonates, but I have something like, so what?
Yeah.
That's just happening, you would say.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. It's just that's what's appearing to happen. Yeah. It's just a resonance. There's a resonance. And that can just appear to be there and maybe not then again, and then appear to be there and not then again. But that resonance isn't something that can be or need be held onto. It's not anything that's knowable or graspable, and it's inescapable.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah,
for the moment.
that's it.
It also comes with did I say this already? Kind of sadness.
There can be big sadness. Yeah, there can be sadness. Yeah, really, like this whole week is like logically, an individual would logically think, if there's someone having a meeting, the first thing that they would think is, okay, maybe there's something in this for me. Maybe I'll learn something. Maybe I'll, get something. And what will I get? That's the way it is. That's the way people naturally think, because that's the way people experience life, through, well, I listen to this, I get something of it, I kind of, maybe there's something that I can apply to my life or whatever. This is different.
I don't think the sadness comes from that.
No, but what I'm saying is, this whole communication is different And it's instead of that usual thing where when someone speaks that there's something on offer, this is different. There's nothing on offer, and it can be very obvious that this is about loss. It's about a loss. It's about a loss of the sense of you. So for some, there can be sadness very quickly because they can sense that they're actually could lose something, and there can be huge sadness around that sometimes. I don't know if that applies there or not, but I'm just saying in general, there can be a sense of sadness.
Yeah, it comes closer.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
It's also like I'm so tired of myself, and I can let go here a bit.
Yeah. 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 Sadness is just energy. Yeah. There can be enormous sadness around this. I've spoken to people who feel so enormously and enormously disappointed, interestingly as well. Really. And then actually, if they say that, it tells me they're actually hearing what's being said then. Sometimes they can feel a huge sense of disappointment because really the individual is a hopeful energy. It's a hope, it's a sense of something better than what's appearing to happen. So it's kind of moving in hopeful anticipation forward all the time. So when this is heard, it can be, yeah, like that. Yeah. But that's just what appearing to happen. And that is like that till it isn't. Yeah. And there's no you that's sad, obviously. There's just sadness. So this is about an in loveness with what's appearing to happen. And as opposed to the sense that can be there of feeling like you're an individual, there's very much like a sense of, okay, what's happening is it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. But I can improve it in this way, in this way. So I want more of this and kind of less of this stuff. And then there's this kind of energetically, this kind of push-pull sense, that one thing is that's it, and then the other isn't. So sadness isn't it, or I don't know, anger isn't it, or this, whatever it is, that's not it. And so pushing away this and pulling in comfort and pleasure and pushing away confusion, pulling clarity, continual kind of agitation. There's a continual kind of agitation to the sense, the lived, contracted sense of feeling like an individual. There's something, and for many, then that's just, there's not so much of a sensitivity around it. There is a yearning in it, because once you feel separate, there's a yearning and a question. But for some, that's not as strong, and for others, it's more of a sensitivity around it, and more of a sense of what is it that I'm yearning for, and it's possible that it can be that sense, that lived sense of feeling separate, can just not be there. And that is not how you would imagine it to be. That can never, ever be how you would imagine it to be. Because your idea of that is simply an idea. And it's so much more ordinary and simple than you could ever imagine. Because you're already not there. There's already no you there. And if that sense, that lived sense of feeling separate isn't there, then there's an in-loveness and an unknowing. There's an unknowing. There's not knowing anymore. Whereas when you feel that you have a life, you're very much living your life in knowing. You know whatever you know about the world and about other people and about the way life is, and so on. It's that sense of knowing. So it's indescribable, but that sense of being separate can just not be there. It's not happening. Nothing happens because there's already nobody there. And then it's indescribable, but there's an in loveness with what's appearing to happen. So then the sense of it being sadness, my sadness, suddenly it's not my sadness. It's just sadness.
Yeah.
And then it's,
feels fine.
Yeah.
And what you said about the self is always hopeful. Even when I'm depressed, you hope it's getting better.
Yeah.
In some way, it works like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And that's especially taken away when I sit here.
Yeah.
So, no hope.
Yeah, and hope is just hope. There's nothing wrong with hope. Hope is just another thing that appears to happen. But in general, I'm trying to describe this kind of agitation that's there when you feel that you have a life. Like this whole week is very, 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 very simple. It's ludicrously simple what we're talking about. It's the difference from you feeling that you have a life and you are living your life to there just being aliveness. And nobody can ever describe that to you, the difference. It's impossible to describe. But any speaker, when it's shared like this, when it's not shared from knowing and it's shared in this manner, it's just a resonance. And energetically, that energy of, it's like, it's kind of like, you could say like an unraveling almost. Because if you think of this you is like a tightly wound spring of you energetically. Now, this is obviously a story because there's no you, but it can feel so solid and real. It feels absolutely real. You really do feel like you're living your life and that you have this and you have that and you know this and you that. And that one, when this is shared, especially like this we're here for whatever, 6 days, it can almost be like an unraveling of what felt so solid and real is just so obviously a narrative. And that's why you often hear people talk about it. I'll say, nothing changes and everything changes. Nothing changes because it was never, but it was never me anyway. So everything is the same, but then everything is completely different. And the reason it's different, it's always new. It's just alive. It's unknowable. This is unknowable. It's unknowable. But if you feel like you're an individual, then there be a sense of I know it. I know him. I spoke to him yesterday. I know them, blah, blah, blah. But it's so immediately, it cannot be known.
just sort of feels like the reverse of hypnosis.
Mm.
And the protocols of the protocols of arriving at feeling separate. Until I guess experiences or glimpses, whatever you call them, of just and that there's no problem here with the intellectualization of things. So we're born and sense of contraction begins because the five senses started, and then you learn your name and a language, and they name you, and then the interior I, me starts. That's what you need to function in the world, and off you go, and then the realization of a dissatisfaction and a longing emerges. And so there's no problem in the intellectualization and the undoing, and then there's all these little sayings that at times when emptying, then so a lot of the sayings just make complete sense. It's like suddenly you understand the language. So it comes and goes here, whatever. But I love that the intellect continues to try to undo. But it can't.
No. It's gorgeously ungraspable. It's so amazing. Once you think you have it, it'll slip through your fingers then, because of course it's not any intellectual knowing of what we're talking about here is simply just that. It's just a concept, and it's so gorgeous. It's completely unknowable, and then the individual kind of wants to know how it's unknowable. Yeah.
Something that's impacted here recently is just the metaphor of a mirror, and everything appears in the mirror effortlessly. It appears, stays, disappears, and then when it's seen that the body-mind appears, self, and the intellect appears, and the conversations appear, all in the mirror, and all of them are ungraspable, and the mirror never moves. Another concept, but
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Matter.
I mean, that's what I said. Like, you cannot go wrong this week with language. I really don't give two shits what anyone says. This is not about. I don't care if you have a question or you don't have a question or how you frame a question. You are unconditional love. You are everything appearing as this cluster of cells that you call you. Isn't that fucking stunning? I mean, that is just breathtaking. So language is used, and we just, language is limited. We try our best. We all try our best, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Why do you say unconditional love?
I feel that when I say that term, there is absolutely no words to describe what that's pointed to. No words. So inherent in that then is that the words unconditional love are obviously completely inadequate, but there's no other words that would be better for me. And obviously the first problem you run into is that some people say, well, if it's not interpersonal love, well, why do you say the word love at all then? So, and my answer to that is, I just don't care, really, to be honest with you. I tried to explain the difference, and if that's all I can do. So I like the term unconditional love. I like it because I think I first kind of liked it because of when I did the background was in some of the social work and psychology stuff, and I saw I learned about the Rogerian thing, like Rogerian person-centered counseling, and I found it interesting what was being said about it, because he said basically you meet the person with unconditional positive regard, and that energetically has its own energy, whatever. But I think that in the very beginning, he said, I could be wrong, but I think he called it unconditional love, actually. It's so unconditional love, and then that changed then to unconditional positive regard. And if he didn't, it doesn't matter anyway, because when he said that, I remember distinctly hearing that and thinking, isn't that amazing that you would actually see someone as they actually are, instead of how you think they are. And I found that really interesting. But then I also thought, I'm not sure that's possible. I don't think you can do that. So then when I first heard, when this was first seen, that's why the term unconditional love resonated so much, because then that was like the penny dropping of actually seeing someone as they actually are is to not see them as an individual. Do you see? It's not, there is no person there that is a certain way. So to actually see everything and everyone as they actually are is the collapse of the sense of you, subject, and object, the person. So therefore, when there's no sense of separation, that is life peopling. And that was the very first thought I had about unconditional love was that. And all of that is way too fucking logical and linear of an answer anyway, because I just don't care anyway, because it's indescribable. It really doesn't matter, because it's every term you land on is problematic. Like energy is a nice one. It's hard to pin down energy. What do you mean by energy? Like, it's certainly better than, like, all I can do really is try and avoid certain terms that are more confusing. People talk about consciousness. It's like, oh, hang on a second now. What do you mean when you say that word? Like, what you could have several different meanings for that word. And I avoid, so it's more of there's certain, it's not that this term is the right term. It's more that an avoidance of other terms that are more confusing, really. So it doesn't matter.
But it sets up a frequency, but it's not a problem.
Yeah.
It's not a problem, but it sets up a frequency of wholly beneficial or benevolence.
For some, maybe, yeah. For some, maybe, yeah. For certainly, like, there'll be words that will be used that for some will set up a certain idea, and that's the way it is. It's not possible to describe what I'm talking about, and no speaker is better than another speaker as far as I'm concerned, because they can't. It's absolutely, completely indescribable. It's unknowable. And all it is that when there's a sharing, when there's two or more, and there's a conversation, the conversation is energetic, and the communication, if it's not coming from knowing, if it's not coming from somebody who knows, and it's not addressed to anybody, then energetically it's got a certain quality that's boundless. And fucking dangerous too, by the way. A little bit dangerous. Because dangerous, of course it is, because you could die this week. Today, you could die right now. Yeah. But like, there is a sense of like, it's the last place, when it's a clear communication, it doesn't matter who's appearing to communicate it. It's a confronting thing. However that plays out for whoever.
So it's just this.
Yeah.
It's like literally like just fucking this.
Yeah,
like it's just fucking just this.
Isness, yeah.
It's like it's super cool to be sitting here.
Yeah.
Because it's like, holy fucking shit. It's this purple room with these fucking fans and the floor tiles and oh my God, holy fucking shit. Like it's just appearing.
Yeah.
Like it's just like literally when you say what's yearned for, like there's this yearning. It's this yearning for just this. And like, can you fucking see this? Like, holy fucking shit. Like, it's just appearing and it's not even real. And it feels real and it's not real. And it's just this.
Yeah.
And I can't, and saying that sounds insane.
No, it doesn't sound insane. That's also, no, it's just, there's just words. there's just talking, there's just words. So it is simply, directly, whatever is appearing to happen.
Yeah.
The difficulty is that what we're talking about all week is too simple, ordinary, and directly whatever is appearing to happen for that feels separate. So it's not that it's difficult, it's complex, it's esoteric, I have to study, I have to get, it's not, that's what the individual makes it out to be. It's too ordinary and too simply and too directly whatever is appearing for the individual. So therefore, the sense of being separate, if it appears there, overlooks what's actually looked for in favor of what their idea of what's looked for. So there's a continual energetic sense of that and a continual sense of, oh, maybe it's around the next corner or whatever. And it's stunning because it's never been anything else but what's appearing to happen.
It's the ordinariness.
Yeah, the ordinariness is just breathtaking. And ordinary.
But even like when the sadness was spoken about before, like even that is just this, like whatever it is that's happening. If I've got a pain in my tummy or a headache, like it's that the ordinariness of that, like just being able to, not even being able to, that's just what's happening, and that's overlooked all the time.
Energetically, because you would say, like, you feel it's your sadness, you see.
Yeah.
So you feel then, maybe you do, maybe you don't, whatever. We're just generalizing here, but like if we stick with that example, so there's sadness, however you want to describe that. Some people feel it very embodied, sadness. And energetically, if you feel like an individual, it's your sadness. You are sad. And you don't, vast majority of the time, people wouldn't question this. Who is it that's sad? So then you have this kind of agitation. Because I don't really want to be sad. I want to be happy. So there's kind of like, well, why am I sad? And then you want to, because you feel you live in knowing, you can understand why you're sad and you can understand your way out of being sad. And there's this kind of, it feels like this kind of movement, continual kind of movement away from one thing, let's say unpleasant, negative, and towards comfort. And it's like this. So one thing isn't it, and another thing is. It's dualism, duality. And actually the incredible thing is what you're yearning, what you always yearn for, is what's appearing to happen. So if sadness is appearing to happen, that's what's appearing to happen. And it's that simple. Yeah. Like, I mean, you could say, you could look at this two ways. You could say, well, what's yearned for is what's appearing to happen, but energetically, the individual is not looking for what's appearing to happen. The individual is just trying to be an individual energetically. So there's this sense of, so another way of saying that, right, is this whole week, right? Not that there is a week really, incredibly has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. Nothing whatsoever to do with what you think of as you. Nothing at all. But when you feel like a you feel I'm too much this and I'm not enough this, and it's rah in the story, because the apparent individual is just apparently going around this loop of knowing, looking for something, and what's actually being yearned is nothing. So this whole week is about loss, not gain, an apparent loss.
Okay, so I've got in one of the things that I've struggled to get my head around is pedophilia. So that is occurring, right?
Yeah.
So I can totally like get my head around like what's this is what's yearned, like I can, but when I take my like the whole thing about pedophilia that it's that I'm yearning for that.
No. I don't mean that in that sense. I don't mean I don't mean the individual that is yearning for what's happening, the content of what's happening. No, not at all.
No, but
no.
No, that's not what I. Sorry,
okay.
let me just take a moment to word this. I find it challenging to understand how it occurs.
Okay,
in the because it's happening.
Yeah.
And I'd like to hear your thoughts.
So for the individual, there's a dualistic dream and a dichotomy of good and bad. So what you said there, in no way, shape, or form ever could be called good. So we would say it's bad. It's disgusting. It's revolting. It's, So in another way of seeing this, when you don't feel like an individual, is actually good and bad collapse completely because all of the opposites collapse. But what the individual imagines, and it's very common, is so if that's not the bad thing I think it is, because they kind of are in this play of opposites, and I hear this all the time. So you're saying pedophilia is okay then, Kenneth? Are you saying pedophilia is good? And I said, no, I did not say that at all. That's not what I said. And I understand why that happens, because for the individual, you're in this kind of play of opposites. So if it's not this, it's this. Like in school, one of the first things they do as an exercise is what's the opposite of good? What you write, there's a space and you write it down. So that's how we kind of appear to move. So it's unimaginable. This is unimaginable. It's that there's everything, the realness collapses out of everything, and there's just energy, there's just aliveness. And human beings can be boundlessly cruel, boundlessly cruel, as when they think, in that case, it's a perfect example of an objectivization. You are an object for my pleasure, which I will do, however, and a very, very big sickness. It's absolute sickness. And instead of seeing that as this is the when the wrong and right collapse out of it, it's still wrong in the story. It doesn't make it suddenly it's okay or it's right. That's why someone last week actually said, "Oh, everything is perfect." And I said, I don't really say everything is perfect, because for me that has this kind of it's all positive or something. It just is, and aliveness appears as pedophilia, genocide, murder, boundless cruelty, and all aliveness, and it's all a play of light. And so also with that, what can also arise is the sense that if that was appearing to arise, utter fucking disgust for anger, and that's also aliveness. Or if someone did something, harmed anybody connected could hear, severe violence would appear to happen very quickly. There you go.
Yeah.
But there wouldn't be a sense that I'm doing it though. It would just also be what's appearing to happen. And there you go. I don't say that as in, I have no idea what would appear to happen, but I'm just saying. So and it doesn't suddenly make, what I'm saying is that everything is suddenly is seen to be unknowable, as where you felt it was noble and understandable and you could get to the bottom of everything in the dream that it's a dualistic reality and it's really happening. So this whole sharing is the possibility to see that actually there's something appearing to happen. Everything is nothing and nothing. So everything is actually a play of light. And that play of light can be like that example you gave, or war, or incredible, boundless pain can be that's energetically the play of light too. That's the way it is. And it's not that you somehow arrive at some understanding. Oh, I now know how all this works and it's okay. And when I hear people talk like that, oh, it's the universe, it's like, for me, you're just concept now. You've an idea now. You're saying some idea to me. I don't have, this is complete unknowing, total unknowing. And that's that's the full on aliveness of this.
I talk about this saying, I never talk in extremes as a supposed talker. And I don't deal with hypotheticals, but here we are with the hypothetical on paedophilia. So somebody who is a paedophile and the sense of me completely drops completely unexpectedly, then the story here might be, oh, Kenneth, could we then say they would not continue with paedophilia?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I feel, my feeling on that is it's a sickness that is from absolute objectivization. That child isn't a child and it's an object. So it's very much out of a sense of subject object. Absolutely.
But here we are.
And I see. I can't ever really say what's going to appear to happen. I just don't know. I don't know. So, but for me, that my feeling on it would be a sense of the sickness of being an individual. Yeah.
Do you see the subtlety of a potential trap there?
Oh yeah, I don't. I'm just saying I don't know. My first answer, I just don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. But like what I feel is, certainly there's certain types of behavior like that really sick behavior that I would associate with someone certainly who has a enormous sense of wanting to control what they perceive as other people, which for me is a completely an aspect of feeling that you are a separate individual.
Yeah, thanks.
So that's what I'd say, but I also don't know. I mean, we're straight into some heavy stuff here, so that's okay too. But it's also this is what I said at the beginning too. This whole suggestion is so radical actually and so confronting to the individual, because the individual is a lived sense of right and wrong and good and bad. And this is, and it like feeling like an individual, it's a narrative. And we feed on narratives all the time. People turn on the news. It's a constant feeding on, this is happening in this country. This guy, bad guy, this guy, this good guy. This country, bad country, this country, good country. Don't you worry, we're going to look after the bad guys and we're going to look after you. And then, and anybody with any ability to look at it a little bit more discerningly can see that it's a narrative. It's a narrative. It's a fucking narrative. It's a story. But as an individual, we're very seduced by it. And we're seduced by it because it maintains the lived sense that I'm real, the world is real, authority is real, this is really happening. There's really bad people over here and we need to look after them and blah, da, 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 da. Oh. And when it feels real, it feels real. And really the narrative is one of a continual reinforcing that you are an individual. There is an authority that will mind you, and you behave a certain way, you'll be okay. And so, and most of us subscribe to that.
So it's like a pure aliveness, but it's indescribable, and it's not even whatever might be getting sort of connected to that word that's being conceived. It's just whatever is. But then there's like a sort of a self that's trying to conceptualize whatever's being said, and almost like a way of trying to escape from it.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, I'm not speaking to anybody now in the room. I'm not speaking to anyone. There's nobody for me to speak to here. So the sense may arise that there may or may not, I don't know, but there might be a sense that there is a me. And then that sense of there being a me will energetically, it can't hear a word of what's been said. Because it's like a filter. It's like a the energetically, it's a sense of wanting to continue its life as an individual, and so can't hear what's been said and just filters into some sort of idea or concept.
Yeah, I mean,
but it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, nothing really is being said.
No, it's just the energy. All there is energy. Yeah. So it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter how the apparent individual thinks they're hearing it. It doesn't matter if they feel they understand it. It doesn't matter if they feel confused and they don't understand it. None of that matters. In the same way that what I was just said a little while ago, what's yearned for has nothing to do with you. Nothing at all. So nothing to do with the way you think you are, the way you think you should be, the way you think you could be, the story, nothing at all. So this is a resonance that's just heard as it's heard. And the simplicity of this can just land or be obvious. Like, there's just aliveness, rooming, peopling. It's just that's it. There's nobody there's no individual here. Of course, because there is no separation. This separation is a story. It's an appearance. So if I feel like an individual, then I feel I'm sitting on the chair, I'm speaking to other people, and we're in a room then. The room is the door's there, and that's another room, and there's another building over there. And then if I go outside the little town, that so it's this kind of reality of I'm seeing objects and things, and it's unsatisfactory. But it appears that when it appears solid and real like that, that's the way it appears. The other possibility is always there, that this is everything. Actually, this is everything. Rooming, Vietnaming, everything, because there's only wholeness. There's never been two.
Going back to all the heavy stuff, war, yeah, because we were talking earlier about people dying, and like predicted deaths, and especially for older people, I seem to be really okay with when somebody's body's dying. Children, like we said, is just another game. But I can't even imagine what it would be like in a war where your whole family just die in one body.
No, and you can't imagine, and I can't imagine, and nobody can imagine. It's unimaginable, and
like
it's boundless
such a heartbreak.
pain. It's boundless pain.
Yeah, you would just not want to be here as well. You would hope you died.
Oh, it's you can't imagine. And we are boundlessly cruel to one another. So all of that, for me, is aggression is energy, just appears to happen. Protracted conflict is a feature of this. It's aliveness. It's just aliveness, playing the game of being separate to itself. And then this sense that you can overpower, and all the wars energetically are really the striving for boundless greed, for more control and more energy, money. And the sense that you can never have enough money, you can never have enough energy, you can never have enough, and you need to destroy and overpower the other. So in the same way that the individual needs to destroy the other and overpower the other, and that's why when people meet each other, they look at they evaluate this very quickly in nanoseconds. Are you a threat to me, or are you of value to me? And you're very quickly in a nanosecond. We do it by the person's color, their skin, their clothes, everything. We don't know it, we do it. And in the same way, then that same phenomena on what we feel is a larger scale. Like a country is just an individual, if you look at it that way in the story. An apparent individual, I mean, in the same way that a corporation is an actual individual. Most people don't realize this. Under the law, they're an individual. And so all of this energetically is the theater of separation. That's how I would describe it. But it's also unknowable. I can't say, it's also just aliveness as an energy, just as war. Also, that's what it is, which is beyond comprehension, Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems like a total disregard, isn't it, for suffering and
but there is no regard, because you are
about it,
You are an object.
Yeah.
To those who that have, if you want to, it all boils down to the have-nots and the have-yots. And the have-yots, you're an object. You're just an object. That's all you are. You're nothing. So I mean, it's just it's the theater of the story of the game of separateness. That's how I would describe it. And there's no end to how cruel we are. There's boundless. It's boundless. Of course it is. Absolutely boundless. And beyond the mind. I'm not trying to intellectualize this or say, like, this doesn't explain anything. You know what I mean? Because when I first started talking, I was aware that sometimes if I speak like this, logically you would imagine, so really all the wars are just because of your sense of separation, and there's no separation, then there's no wars. And it's still in that kind of causal reality of, this is just, you cannot understand it. It's just total, it's just aliveness. And it's very, very, it's impossible. It's not very hard. It's impossible for the individual, the apparent individual, who's in this dichotomy of good and bad. It's just forget about it. You cannot, because that's the mind works in that dichotomy of good and bad. And as I said, often so Kenneth, you're saying war is okay then? I said, I didn't say war was okay. I said war is war. War is war. Murder is murder. Energy, it's all energy, aliveness. And there's nobody doing it. In I said this a few times, but I was watching this BBC thing called Poets of the Psalm. And it was because in World War, I think it was World War II. Psalm was World War II, wasn't it? World War One. World War One, the Poets of the Psalm. So yeah, it was. My history is atrocious. So it was the first war which they felt a lot of poets and writers were corresponding with home. So you got a lot of poetry and letters about, and it was exploring that. And Tolkien was on the front lines as well, which was the book, The Lord of the Rings, is reflective of that. What it was the woods. What they were in was the Allied forces and the Germans. They'd overtake a small woods, and there could be only a kilometer between them. But it could take 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 months to capture, and that was reflected in all his writings of this energy of good and bad and all of this stuff, and the forces in the woods and all. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. The interesting point was, somebody, I need to watch it again, one of the writers said, it's so obvious to me, there's no Germany and there's no England. There's no enemy and there's no friend. All there is this fucking, they didn't say fucking, but this monstrous energy. It's just energy. It's so clear to me that there's no enemy. Because they're the enemy to us and we're the enemy to them. And it depends which trench you're in. And they fleshed it out in that sense. It's just energy. All there is it's just one energy. And there's nobody can stop this. It's unstoppable. It will just go until it doesn't. Yeah. And you can't imagine it. Of course you can't. Anything you imagine is just another idea. Yeah.
And he says this, human beings, okay, so let's do the story. So as a raw animal in this construct, call it the theatre, this play, there are 2 protocols. The protocols are to move towards food or move away if you are going to be food as a raw animal.
Oh, yeah.
Second protocol is when you move, don't die. Pretty raw.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we'll overlay all this intellectualism and stories. Right? And but he goes on to say that this construct, this reality, is created in the antithesis of unconditional love. And as raw animals, this particular animal happens to have a larger forehead and a brain, so hence language innovation, if you like no other animal. Monkeys didn't make iPhones, whatever. Okay. And then we can experience thoughts from 2 sources. He goes on to say that there is a story, a demonic entity that created this reality, like the film Matrix now in Storyland. And so our brains are receivers and transmitters, but we think we're the source of the thoughts, and the emotions. So we feel responsible for this thing, right? But when you get thoughts and emotions that come from both come from infinite intelligence, but on the one hand, it's combined and imbued with unconditional infinite love, and on the other, it's combined and infused with fear. And this can be detected in the story in the being, that when thoughts and emotions arise that lead to fear, contraction, smallness, it's a compass possibility. And when other emotions and thoughts arise, it leads to expansion, intuition, clairvoyance, openness, more towards unconditional love. It's a story that we may have a compass within us that says, I don't like feeling sadness. Pedophilia is an issue we want to, whatever. And so I know it's all a story. And I love this extreme form of non-duality because it denies even feeding the I or me with anything. That's great, fine. But it doesn't mean that the I or me that appears in the mirror and can't, when it's appearing, can't see that it's just the mirror in which, the emptiness in which all's appearing. Of course, it's going to try and unpack and undo this incredible thing that's happened to the apparent separate self that led us to, fight or flight and want to work out what move towards comfort and away from pain. It's understandable. What I'm trying to say is the me or I that feels in this trap, there's almost this is an innocent love for that. It's kind of of course it would feel like that.
Oh yeah, it's just aliveness, appearing as an individual. So there's no issue. So if someone feels like an individual, then that's unconditional love appearing as an individual.
But you wouldn't deny that those people in the room sitting there are hoping that I or me dies. So you wouldn't deny that that's the hope.
Why would I deny that? Well, I don't understand that point.
So you're not denying that when Eric says, I feel sadness, and he doesn't want it. You understand that beings might appear and be attracted to this message in the hope of traveling somewhere, and you give them the truth. There's nowhere to travel. There is no I or me. Boom. Fine. But you'd understand that you don't see people there, but you remember there was a time when you might have been confused, maybe wanting to feel less suffering.
All there is aliveness, unconditional love. And if someone during this conversation or throughout the apparent 6 days says, well, I feel like an individual, that's what's appearing to happen. But I can't see an individual there because there is no individual there.
Got it. I get that.
So there's no sense of speaking to somebody. It's that simple then. So their sense of being there. Equally then, if someone tomorrow or the next day says, I'm not fucking here anymore, I wouldn't see any difference. How could I? So if it would be the same to me as if they said, oh God, I still feel like an individual. Okay, well, that's what's happened. That's what's appeared.
Yeah, that's nice. That's pretty.
All there is unconditional love. Unconditional love is energy, aliveness, appearing as whatever. And when I say unconditional love, I mean as what appears as the opposite to love. And this is the part that the head can't get around, because you had your example and everyone will have a different example of that, but that's a heinous, horrible thing. And I said, yeah, but actually it can be seen that it's actually just energy. All there is energy, which is impossible for the individual because they're in this dichotomy of no, but it's really fucking bad though. And then when I say, well, it's just aliveness. So you're saying it's good then, are you? Is the natural kind of, are you saying, so you're saying it's okay then? It's like, I didn't say, yeah. I didn't say it was okay. I didn't say it was good. I said it's alive. So.
Infinite realm of possibilities. So, there's endless possibilities. So, unconditional love is any possibility. So, within that, war, murder,
pain,
pedophilia,
pain,
all of that exists within
pain.
the realm of possibility.
Is aliveness as that. Yeah.
So that's what unconditional love is
everything. Everything and
every
anything.
possibility.
It's not the difficulty is it's not the positive love we think of, which is really like if you drill into it a little bit, it's kind of a meeting of needs, really, what we think of as love. Look at the love that this person showed for this person because they helped them, or that they showed affection towards them, or they did, it's that sort of thing that we immediately think of. Or a mother, look at the love of the mother who's nurturing, or the father who's nurturing and looking after their child. But what we see then is we personalize everything. So then we see somebody who's being loving towards somebody else. And that's a story. Actually, all there is these bodies, aliveness as bodies, and there appears to be a meeting of needs in that then. And that's all that is. But then we attach ourselves to it in a dualistic dream of feeling, oh, this is what love, and this is a good, positive thing, and blah, blah, blah. And it's really just a story. Unconditional love is indescribable, unimaginable, ungraspable, unknowable, and inescapable. Yeah. It's just isness. There's simply boundless wholeness. As a fan, as a thought, maybe, as purple walls, as a sensation on the chair. That's all that is. It's everything. That's all. It's that simple.
So how it seems to be showing up here is like we got this, right? Then there's story where there's whole interpretations and all that stuff going on. Like, but like, yeah, so, you know, like someone could be playing cricket, yeah. And the interpretation here within the story would be, yeah, he's trying to hit the ball out the park. But in terms of what's happening, it's just stuff moving, apparently, or just.
I would say you're even overcomplicating it, to be honest. It's kind of, I get the sense there you're kind of almost trying to grasp a difference between, and you won't be able to, really.
Yeah.
So it's the difference between cricket and a lived sense that you're playing to the cricket. So a lived sense that, you know, the ball is being batted towards you, you hit the ball. So if you want to apply it to here, that is a lived sense that you're holding the microphone, that you're sitting in this chair, maybe whatever it is. And the difference then is that that's just not being there, and there's just what's going to happen. So the difference isn't really describable because it's the same and it's completely different. It's exactly the same, totally the same. There's no difference, except that additional sense that there's a you doing it isn't there.
There's no label.
So that's actually a loss, not a gain.
Yeah.
But you can, the individual, it's impossible. It's completely impossible to imagine, because if you imagine it, you just have an idea then of what it's like. And it's very simple. There's already just holding the microphone. You know, if we maybe make it more immediate to what's appearing to happen, rather than kind of cricket, or, you know, even imagining whatever.
Yeah, it's not even holding the microphone. It's just
or whenever. They're just words, but it's the sense, like, and this is so subtle that, like, when they're sitting, there's a sense that I'm sitting.
Instead, it's just sensation.
And then, and when there's a sense of talking, energetically, there's a sense that I'm people have a real sense that they're talking.
Yeah.
They don't feel like there's just talking, like when I'm talking now, I'm talking to you. That sound of the fan, I can hear the sound of the fan. I can see the fan. So the difference then is indescribable, because there's just the sound of the fan.
Yeah.
There's just the visually, the seeing the fan. There's just the sensation of sitting in the chair. There's just the sound of voice.
But it's without the
There's-
labeling.
Well, it's without the lived energetic sense that there's a me there. And so when there's not that there, then it's not even really happening. But the sense that it's real and it's really happening in time is from the sense that you're there, that you're separate to it. So then it's just a play of light. Then it's just energy, aliveness.
It's just stuff.
Yeah, it's whatever. Yeah, it doesn't aliveness stuff.
It's like no difference.
It's just so utterly simple what we're talking about. It's just so utterly simple. There's just aliveness, but there's either your sense of that you're alive appears to be there or it doesn't. And if it does, then it does, and then we talk about it.
Yeah, it seems to like a sense of self seems to like appear when there's just an attempt to understand or something, put it.
Yeah, it's different for everyone. Some people have a sense of like it almost feels constant for some people that they just like they feel like they're there. And for others, then, maybe it appears to come and go. Maybe, I don't know. I think it does come and go for everyone because throughout the day, that energy that they feel that you just sometimes it's not there, but then you wouldn't necessarily recognize that.
Yeah. It could be that sense of self appears the strongest in this room because we're talking about that.
It can be for some, yeah. For some, their sense like this can be heard. This is heard as it's heard. So for some, there can interestingly, like some people could appear to come to these meetings and even feel more of a sense of contraction. Maybe, possibly, I don't know. And especially kind of sometimes when it's kind of resonating. It there's a sense of it's like a defense mechanism. So the me is even more like trying to confirm that it's here, and maybe I don't know. You see, I have no idea. I have no idea how it resonates, and it's none of my business either. It's not. I don't. How do I know? And I can't see it either. Like I can't obviously because I can't see an individual because there is no individual. So how can I have any effect on something that's I can't see?
It's like there's
So
sense
it
of,
will just
but then it's
play
just
out.
sense. It's just
It either
sense,
appears to be
right?
there or it doesn't. Yeah. And there's no agenda here for it to be whatever. And some people kind of they hear this and they don't, they can come back to this 3 years later, or 5 years later, or 7 years later, and I've seen this all very often, and then they go, "Oh, it's so funny! Like I saw one of your videos, and I just couldn't watch anymore." And then like 7 years later, okay. Or whatever. I've heard people saying this about other speakers as well. So it's what I mean is it's just heard as it's heard. Doesn't matter. Things only matter are significant in the story.
You say that things are only significant in the story. Like, can it be significant and not significant at the same time? Like, because it just feels like, how could it be not significant if it isn't significant? Like.
So I guess The difference would be that if really that you feel something's really happening. So if it doesn't feel like a story, if you feel like an individual, it's not a story. Life isn't a story. It's real, and it's really happening to me. So therefore, what I mean is, you are the meaning maker. Then the meaning maker is that it's real. You see, it has to be real. It's really happening, right? And therefore, it has this significance or that significance and whatever in the story. Then, so what I'm saying then is that can all collapse, and the realness collapses because the realness was there when you felt real, and it was all kind of really happening in time and had significance and meaning. And then when it appears to collapse, it's unknowable. It's unknowable, and it's an appearance of something appearing. It's all energy appearing to happen.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, no, I get that. I get what you're saying there. But okay, so say if I go to the cinema, I'm sitting in the cinema and I'm in a seat, and there's distance between me and the cinema screen, and I'm watching a movie, and it is absolutely 100% clear to me that I am watching a movie. Yet as I'm watching the movie, I will laugh if it's funny, I will cry if it's sad, I will be terrified if it's scary, right? But the whole time, like, I'll get fully engaged in the movie and have emotions arise in me that are whatever, but the whole time I know it's a movie. So it's a completely insignificant movie, yet it's quite significant what has actually occurred. Like, there's a lot of energy that gets. It's kind of like the same with the Kelly character's story. Like, I am most of the time pretty aware that this is just a movie that's playing, and it's not real. But it's kind of like the emotions arise and move, and that feel.
But so what though? Emotions arise though.
Yeah, but like it can't. It's like, how can it be not significant? How can it be not significant if it isn't significant?
I don't really understand that question.
Yeah.
How can it be not significant if it isn't significant? I don't really understand.
Just like when I go to the movies, I get deeply moved, but it's just a movie.
What I'm saying is there's just aliveness, right?
Yeah.
It's very simple. So emotion is energy. That's it.
Yeah.
So you go now, when we go to dinner, you get a call and something, and you get some news. I get a call, I get news, and it bursts of emotion. Maybe it's good news, happiness. Maybe it's fucking horrendous news, sadness. What I'm saying is that's aliveness. When you feel that it's your life, you feel first of all, the first thing is you feel it's real. Everything is really happening. So there's something really happening. So when the phone goes in the news, everything is real. Something has happened. It's a negative thing. I'm sad. It's a positive thing. I'm happy. Right? Another way of seeing it is there's just aliveness. So the phone ringing with the apparent news is aliveness, and the emotion is the fucking aliveness.
But the aliveness is significant, not to me personally. How could aliveness be insignificant? Because it's all there is.
It's the meaning. I'm talking about you're putting as an individual. One thing is significant, another thing isn't. So it's the dance of significant. It's significant to me because it's my life and this is really happening. What I'm saying is when there's just aliveness, it's an appearance of something happening. That's the differentiation.
I think I'm not explaining it properly because
energy appearing as the story, and in a way, in language, the bit that's missing there is it's nothing appearing as everything. So if I go to the mirror metaphor, you look in the mirror and the whole fucking players appearing in it, but we're not noticing the nothing, the complete emptiness that, because you can't really at the same time. Is that getting close to, because you were talking about the significance of all of this. No. So what is?
But it's not. You see,
No, you didn't say that.
And
you didn't say that. You missed the nothingness in the language. So I'm hearing you say. I just wanted to say, I think you're missing the nothingness at the same time as the
significant and insignificant are a dichotomy, a duality. That's from the sense of being an individual. So significant and insignificant collapse because there's nothing happening. That's all I can say about it. So for me, when someone says significant, I mean it has some sort of meaning, and the meaning is for me in my life. Then, so I for me, maybe I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anyway. It's just doesn't matter. What is significant is dinner, and thank you very much. Just before we finish, though, and the other thing to say is, if some of this is kind of jarring with you. And it can do for somebody. Just have a chat one-to-one because there's no need to be, and it can do. I've been doing this for years, and sometimes something you can feel a little bit kind of, with it, and just let's go we'll just talk one-to-one, and sometimes that for someone can, okay, you can. It's amazing. So you can kind of wind yourself up a little bit sometimes. So don't let that happen for the week and then not say it to me on fucking Friday. And I said, well, you should have said me on Tuesday. We'll just have a talk, Not, yeah. Not you. No, you're out of the, not dealing with you. No, I'm joking. Yeah, no, sincerely, lovely to see everyone. And it's wonderful that